Hello all, Nick Calabro here with Collaboration once again. I wanted to make a part 2 of this video just because I was going off on a little bit of a tangent in the previous video there where I'm going off about talking about how everyone thinks that they're a media company nowadays and they forget to actually start selling. Okay, so ultimately I want to talk about how you can actually acquire these $1,500 per month clients to eventually get you to 5 figures per month for your digital agency. So I'll tell you first what really not to do and then what exactly to do. So when I first started Collaboration, I tried every single thing in the book. I was cold calling, I was door knocking, I was going to networking events, I was signing up for different lead generation services. I literally was doing everything. A lot of things worked, a lot of things didn't work, but I want to tell you what worked best and what I wish I wasn't doing and what I wish I kind of leveraged even more. So the short answer is, I was cold calling, I was knocking on doors, I was cold emailing, I was doing all that good stuff. Those worked somewhat well, okay? I wouldn't recommend really spending all of your time on those tactics. And if you're going to be operating an agency, you should know how to cold call. It's one of the best skills to have. It'll set you apart from everybody else because nobody wants to get on the phone nowadays, okay? It's just absurd. Nobody wants to pick up the phone and start dialing, right? So if you're able to do that, if you're able to get on the phone and just call somebody at random and say, hey, my name is Nick, we have these services, whatever, blah, 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 hang up. That is so crucial. I have a ton of really great stories that came out of cold calling. I would just cold call people for the sake of cold calling them without even really knowing what I wanted out of them, and it formulated some amazing friendships that I hold to this day. Crazy stuff, but it totally works. If you can just cold call, your life will be just so much better. Anyway, if you're doing all that good stuff, it won't not work, okay? But what did work immediately for Collaboration, I spent maybe 5 days cold calling, cold emailing, all that good stuff, and nothing really tangible came out of it, okay? It wasn't a waste of time, because eventually they did lead to something, but it wasn't those kind of immediate results that I really wanted very, very quickly. So what did work immediately, I might have called 200 people, let's say. 5 days, 50 calls a day. Let's say I was slacking off one day. I called about 200 people. Now, nothing really came out of it immediately within that 1 week. The next step that I took was, now, mind you, I did not get out of the building at least once in that process, okay? Steve Blank, professor and kind of entrepreneur pundit who loves to write books and whatnot, talks about I literally have his book, The Business Model Canvas and everything. I have the book right there. His big thing that he loves to talk about is getting out of the building. Once you're out of the building, you're able to talk to customers, you're able to see exactly what they want, you're able to essentially build a business based on exactly what they want. It's one of the most crucial things of business is that, give your customers what they want. And so many people just think that they know what the customer wants. In reality, they don't, and they just build stuff and then try to sell it and then wonder why no one's buying it. And the answer is, well, gee, you didn't do any research, okay? You're just shooting for anything here. You didn't actually do the proper market research. Anyway, the first time I got out of the building, I went to, it was a networking event at Panera, okay? It was literally one of these there were some real estate agents there, some real estate investors, low ticket people, okay? No one there was really they were all, pretty successful, somewhat wealthy small business owners, but no one really that kind of substantial. There were maybe 15 people there, 15, 20 people there, and they were all talking about their portfolio, like, yeah, I have like 2 homes here, whatever, I just sold a house and whatever, kind of regular basic stuff. I was the only person that was not technically in the real estate industry because instead I figured, let me sell digital services to these real estate professionals, okay? And it was great. First of all, I stuck out like a sore thumb because I was the youngest person there, okay? And I was also the only one doing anything that wasn't exactly real estate, okay? So they like to have that kind of that breath of fresh air. They were like, oh my God, Nick, you're I'm a real estate agent. We're all, we could all use your services, essentially, is what the bottom line in that meeting was. So ultimately what happened here was I closed a deal literally that night. Okay, now there were a couple of things that happened here that weren't happening the week prior when I was cold calling. People saw my face, people shook my hand, people were able to, I was already giving a call to action because I was in front of them. Okay, a call is already a call to action. An email is nothing. Okay, if you're there, that's the greatest call to action there is because you're right there. Okay, you're making it very, very easy for these people to actually consume your value and to listen to you and to really give you the time of day. So I did exactly that, and I was able to close somebody right there at Panera. It was the owner of the group, and we sat down. He was like, Nick, you know what? I've been trying a lot of different things. Really glad you showed up tonight. Let's try it out. So the problem with this, and the reason why I don't really recommend this, is because it was a very, very low ticket client. So I'm telling you to go after clients that are going to give you $1,500 per month because that's the way to really make it worth it for you. That's the way to scale. That's the way to get to 5 figures a month for your digital agency. Okay, what I was doing, this was a very low ticket client. Okay, so I picked it up anyway because it was my first one, and I figured, let me just rock his socks off. Okay, and then we would scale from there. And the issue was that it wasn't exactly worth it in the end for us because essentially once those better clients were coming in, this one ended up being more work than was actually worth it. Okay, so the problem with going to these networking events is that the people that are going to these networking events are in a similar situation as you are. They also don't have a lot of money. They also need to generate business. That's why they're there. Okay, now if you're spending time on social media and in Facebook groups, these are the people that don't have any time to be traveling around the state, going to all these different events, trying to get more business. Okay, they're in these Facebook groups and they're on Twitter and they're on these forums because they can't afford the time spent to even drive to a Panera for a little roundtable discussion. Okay, that is the type of client that you want for a few reasons. Okay, those clients are going to have no time on their hands, which means that they're going to have very little time to annoy their marketing agency. Okay, this is something that I never really took into account until I saw it literally in front of me. Okay, the people that are paying you the least amount of money are also the people that have the most time to bother their marketer. Now, I hate to sound rude, essentially, to the clients here, but don't bother your marketer, right? You guys know what you're doing. Collaboration, I exactly knew what I was doing. I did not need to be getting phone calls from real estate agents at 6 p.m. while I'm trying to enjoy the 20 minutes off that I have each day eating dinner, okay, to listen about their Facebook funnel that they think they can improve. No, I know exactly, no. We built out the funnel this way for a reason, okay? I appreciate your input. If you want me to change it, I will, but you're not going to get the results that you want, okay? Now, please, let me eat in peace. Now, it's funny. The most productive people are only productive because they don't want to do anything. And it's very, very true, especially in entrepreneurship. Mathematicians kind of have the same problem as well. Mathematicians are so lazy, right? And this is not a knock on mathematicians at all. You're geniuses because of it. But essentially, they're trying to find the easiest way out. And because of that, they're so extremely efficient that they don't have to do anything else. Okay, now, part of my methodology here is that you don't want to ever be more efficient for the sake of getting nothing done. You want to be more efficient for the sake of packing more stuff in there. But that kind of is another tangent here that I won't get on. This doesn't have to be a 3-part video here. Ultimately, you want to go where the high-ticket clients are. So, similarly, if there was an event at a Panera, like a very similar thing, but it was exclusive to businesses that were pulling 7 figures a year, and you kind of had to drop $5,000 to get in there, that I would be much more willing to go into, okay, because you have a much more focused audience of people that are already successful. They're there for another reason. They're not really trying to find other business, okay? They're more there because they want to talk to other business owners, maybe make some connections. Maybe one of them has a golf course, this one's trying to, whatever it might be, okay? But that would be a better reason for going to these events because there's a more focused group and there's just more value in that round table altogether, okay? If you're adding a ton of value to all these people, your value has value, obviously. It's literally the word, value. So if you're giving all this value, if you're doing this sales tactic, okay, if you're selling, you want to make sure that whoever you're selling to has the money to pay you what you're worth, okay? So I'm spitting out $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of value to this table, and no one even has $500 in their bank account. Okay, that's a problem. That is failed research, that's failed prospecting. Okay, we went after the wrong demographic, we went after the wrong people. Sure, we were able to scrape the bottom of the barrel and get some people out of there, but ultimately, it was not worth it in the long run. Okay, you don't want to really be focusing on pennies when you could be focusing on dollars, okay? Now, I hesitate to say that because it is also true that you want to focus on a little bit of money here and there where you can get it. Okay, that is why we took that client for $500 a month. Okay, I don't regret it. Okay, we learned from it and the money was valuable at the time, but you also can learn from these mistakes and essentially circumvent that altogether. Okay, so the very bottom line here is hang out where the people who have money are. If that means going into Facebook groups and plastering all your value all over the place and be selling your services there, then do exactly that. Okay, don't be going on these other beginner entrepreneur groups where people literally are advertising that they have no money, okay, and you're trying to sell to them. It's foolish, it's silly, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of the value that you're putting out there. Remember, you are selling a service, you're not a media company, and I'm going to go on this tangent again here, but essentially, you're selling a service, okay? So prospect correctly and be in the area where your services are most valuable, where they're most valued, and where the people who have the money that can pay for it are. So, once more, thank you very much for watching. I'm Nick Calabro. Be sure to check out collaboration.com for more content like this. Thank you very much. Now, get to work.